from biomedical engineering all the way to vehicular technology. And we have just in the last 6 or 8 weeks, one of those societies is IEEE's Computer Society, which has almost 300,000 members, which actually makes it larger than ACM, for those of you who are interested in statistics. And just in the last 6 weeks or so, Madison section got approval to form a local chapter of the Computer Society. And they are co-hosting this meeting. I'm not actually a Computer Society member myself. I'm a power guy. I want to talk about big iron and things that are filled with iron, oil, and rotate. I'm your man, but software is kind of a mystery to me. So anyway, we've formed this organization. Christopher, as I understand, is going to be having an organizational meeting afterwards to kick off the structure of this local chapter, which is, like I said, just formed. So that's just a quick pitch for IEEE, and I hope you consider what it could mean for you and for your professional network, and hope you think about the fact that we're here alongside Mad AI.
Beautiful. Let's give it up for IEEE. And honestly, really, it's a great organization, and please consider joining. It's worth it. And be a part of this community as we grow it. So thank you. Thank you for our sponsors. Thank you for Midpoint Consulting. Thank you for IEEE. And without further ado, I'm just going to let you take it over here.
Sure. Hey, everybody. My name is Adam Slaker. I'm a principal software engineer. I've been doing it for about 10 years. Previous to that, I was a geologist. So still using that degree quite a bit, as you can tell. Kind of worked my way into, I think I hit software engineering just at the right time, kind of taught myself, and now we're heading into this big AI boom. More recently, I've been working with, so I work for a company called Frontline Education. We do ed tech. I'm kind of a floater in their portfolio. I'm basically responsible for technical unification across many of our different applications and moving us away from 10 years of legacy code into a much more maintainable code base. On the side, I own a company called Local Tech Labs. It's just me, and I end up, what I've kind of positioned that to be is more of an automation agency, leveraging automation tools like n8n to build automations for small and medium-sized businesses and kind of give them a little bit more of the technology that they typically don't receive when software engineers are typically stolen away by larger companies. So we're going to talk a little bit about n8n today. I want to get a sense, I got an early sense. Raise your hand if you've heard of or used n8n before. Okay, cool. So a few of you, that helps me calibrate a little bit. I get very, very into, hey, I'm doing n8n all the time, and I just assume everybody knows about it, and then I talk to other people about it, and they say, I've never heard of that before. So what n8n is it's a rapid prototyping tool. It's a low or no code tool. Very similar to make.com if you've ever used that. Zapier is another example. If this, then that is another example. n8n has a little bit more going for it, in my opinion, but it's very, very similar to those types of tools. And it's really quite a good tool for very quickly prototyping. So let's get into, let's see if I can actually know how to use this. There we go. And yes, all of my images are AI generated. I would not spend any time on that. So why does it matter? I've kind of gotten to this point, specifically in my full-time job, where I've realized that we have received a mandate from on high to leverage AI in as many places as possible. And that's fine. We kind of expected that right now. We're going to see that in a lot of different businesses. Smaller businesses are going to want to leverage it. There are a ton of productivity gains. There's very, very interesting insights that can be gained from AI. What that gives you, though, is a hammer, and it starts to make a lot of things look like nails, right? And so when you're searching for the things that are actually nails, you will inevitably hit a couple of things that are not. And what that equates to in the software business is a lot of additional cost spent and resources spent on things that ultimately weren't valuable to the client. So the big thing that I've been trying to migrate us towards is, okay, how do we, if we are going to be biasing, leveraging AI and thinking AI first, how can we find a tool that will allow us to rapidly prototype and very quickly iterate on some of the product use cases that they come up with. And then we don't actually have a huge cost loss when we have to throw that use case away, right? We're not going to get it right the first time. There's still a lot of unknowns when it comes to how are we going to apply some of our artificial intelligence use cases. N8n really is a tool that lets you rapidly prototype, keeps development costs really low. It is very easy to present to, say, a product team. So I'm kind of looking at this from the enterprise perspective, but if you need to share it with a stakeholder or someone who is not as technical, it's very easy for them to visualize how you're moving through the process. So like I said, it's a visual workflow automation tool. It's a drag and drop interface. It is very straightforward. I'd call it low code because there's plenty of times where I have to introduce a node where I'm actually writing some code for it. What it has going for it is it has a giant library of integrations, right? And that allows the flexibility of providing a bunch of different solutions for different use cases. For example, they've got integrations with Salesforce, integrations with, go for it, integrations with Slack, integrations with Discord. I mean, what they've done is provide that large library so that essentially you have the flexibility to solve as many different use cases as possible. And then if there isn't an integration, what you can do is and I'll demonstrate this a little bit later, there's an HTTP request node. So if there's an API for your particular service you're trying to integrate with, you can just sort of kind of build it yourself. And again, what it has going for it, make.com has this as well. I personally prefer the way that n8n approaches it. They have very strong AI support capabilities. So they worked in a bunch of AI nodes, whether it's reaching out to OpenAI, reaching out to, say, OpenRouter, reaching out to, there we go, or creating agentic workflows that leverage tool agents. So why I like n8n for prototyping above a tool like make.com or Zapier. Zapier has really made some strides as well. They have a really nice AI system as well. N8n, as far as I know right now, and I believe it's still this way, N8n is the only one that provides a self-hosted version. So you can run this in a Docker setup. You just run a Docker Compose setup locally. So what's good for me personally, I don't have to pay for the cloud n8n to play with this stuff. I can run it on my machine. I don't have to worry about any sort of caps to cost or anything like that. I can run Olama locally and run local LLMs. It's just a very, very nice way to work through this stuff. In addition, I think it's also very attractive for, let's say you're trying to pitch this at a larger company. Larger companies typically have concerns about privacy and security. N8n Cloud, make.com, there are varying levels of compliance that they follow. And so being able to self-host and put this on your own infrastructure is very attractive. Again, you can rapidly prototype. You can Yeah, you can rapidly prototype, so it's really easy to discard and restart workflows. I think that's a really important thing, not just with n8n, but really any of the low-code tools, especially when it comes to I have talked with product folks. So for a good example is recently we wanted to go with a chatbot for some sort of feature, just so we could get AI rolling. Ultimately, we didn't, it would show that we had AI in our product, but at the end of the day, our users are probably not going to use it. So you really do want to find what are the valuable pieces. So we could have rapidly iterated on a chatbot, see if users wanted to use it at all, and then just discard it and not be concerned about how much we spent on developer time for building that out. It says instantly connect. It's not instant, but it is very fast. It's just configuration-based nodes. It's very, very straightforward to connect these things. It's a very large open source community, so there's thousands of different templates that you can use to get started too. That's also really, really nice if you have a specific workflow in mind. You can go search on their site and they have things that you can just pull a JSON file down, you import it into your n8n setup, and you're off to the races. You just start connecting your different nodes to your specific services. And then the thing that I also really like is there's a concrete path to scale beyond the prototype. There is n8n Cloud, which is a pretty robust service. But in addition to that, all of these nodes have corresponding SDKs, or if it's just a code node, it's just code that you wrote. It's relatively straightforward to go and say, okay, this use case is good, people are using it, we've maybe put it behind a feature flag, we've tested out that people are leveraging it properly, and it is popular. So now we can consider spending actual developer time to then build out a more robust solution and one that works a little bit faster.
Next slide.
I think we're probably onto the demo.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Give me one moment here. I'm trying to. The audio is.
Any questions so far, just after the slides? Yes.
So you said for some nodes you actually do have to write some code?
It's up to you, right? So any of the nodes that are not a code node, they actually call it a code node. It's just configuration based. And then you can slot in a specific code node anywhere into there. And it's right now they support Python and JavaScript for that.
What sort of code nodes have you built?
A lot of it is more complex mapping between nodes, oftentimes. Or for example, if I have, let's say I send a request up to OpenAI, there's a couple of different ways you can leverage that. You can actually say like there must be a specific output JSON format for OpenAI, or you can just say return it back to me and I'll handle parsing it out. So there are you can do validation. Sometimes there's a library that you might want to bring in that's a JavaScript library or a Python library that does something a little bit more robust than what's available. It also gives you the flexibility to do that. So I mostly use it as glue at this point. Yeah.
Hello. Hello. Can you hear me? All right. Let's keep going here.
Sure.
Is,
I need a laptop to keep going.
okay.
Any other questions at all? Yeah.
Is there a workflow for getting audio right on your presentation?
Maybe. I'll build one for Chris. I'll bill him.
Right.
Yeah. I think the biggest takeaway from this talk, and I know this is, mad AI, and we're talking more about artificial intelligence, and there will be some artificial intelligence pieces in here, but I mean the biggest takeaway for leveraging this type of tooling is really being able to do this quickly. And we always have this conversation at every company I've ever worked at, which is how long is it going to take us to build this? And you can either go through, there's two ways to approach this. You can go through a long planning phase, which would be essentially what we would do now. But with how fast these AI tools are evolving, by the time you get to the end of a planning phase and maybe doing a user experience workshop and checking to make sure that this feature that you're going to build is going to be one that works, we may already be in a space where we have new tools that need to be vetted out and a new use case for it. So instead, it's what I've been pitching is, these things can be run off of webhooks. They can be run, there's multiple different triggers that you can use. So it's relatively easy to extend a backend service or an API that you already have with some sort of n8n workflow, give it a webhook, call it as part of your process. If it works, if people use it, migrate it into code. And it should be relatively straightforward to do that. Okay, so.
One other question.
Yes.
You talked about this for building prototypes. Would you use this to actually build a deliverable product, or would you then recode the prototype in something like Java?
Yeah, there are two paths. So I think this could be used to build a deliverable product. They do have a cloud solution, or like I said, it's self-hosted, so they have a Helm chart for Kubernetes, so they do have a way to deploy the containers to more of an enterprise structure. So you can take it as is and deploy that. The question's always going to be performance, right? It's a little bit of a black box behind the node that they built versus the node that you might build, or the code that you would build to fill in for that node. So I do think you could take it from exactly what you have into something that's production ready. Where I'm personally targeting those types of things is more background jobs, ETL type jobs, data transformation jobs, things that are running, and I'm not really concerned about performance, but more concerned about stability. If it were something that was, behind, I would have to do a little bit of, load testing, but if it was something that were behind a product that I was building, say a front end, I probably would opt to actually take it and put it into some sort of back end.
Follow up. Would you be able to, one node at a time, replace this with actual code?
That is a good question, and I've never thought about doing that. So just like an incremental migration. I wouldn't want to do it with the code nodes that come with it, because they are, we're spoiled these days, right? We have these wonderful IDEs that give us section by section, but I believe if you're planning, if you planned it to incrementally do it that way, you could take sections of it away and still have this webhook structure, right? You can always add a webhook trigger and then essentially either extend the app or remove certain portions of it, add a new webhook trigger, and expect maybe a different contract coming in. Yeah. Yeah, sorry.
Could you explain what a webhook is?
Yeah, absolutely. So a webhook is just a way to expose, it's essentially an API endpoint. So in the case of n8n, it just exposes a webhook for you. So oftentimes a webhook is, depending on the service that is exposing it, it's an API endpoint with various different contracts. Sometimes there is no contract. You can send it whatever object you want, and the service itself will try and process what you sent. Oftentimes there will be some sort of expected contract. I need an object with a date field and a name field and what version of the API you're using. What it allows is it allows an entry point from somewhere else outside of the process, and it allows a lot of different types of services to interact with your setup. A good example here is when I build, say, an agentic flow, I might have a chat trigger, which comes directly from n8n, and actually it's really cool. It builds you out a little MIDI chat interface that you can test with. Or I'll actually have a webhook trigger as well, which allows me to then set that service up so that some other external application could also leverage it, right, by sending whatever contract I'm expecting. Does that sort of help? Yeah. Yeah, please ask those types of questions too. I don't know where if I glossed over anything, please ask away. Is YouTube participating?
YouTube is trying to. All right.
Good to go?
Yeah, we're going.
All right, so I need to go back to this. Okay, so we'll start with the demo. I'm going to show you like this. Okay, so this is what we're going to build relatively quickly today. I'm going to go relatively fast just because we have 45 minutes. This is a somewhat contrived example. The reason for that is it would just take us longer to build something a little more complex. I do have some other examples of something that would be more complex just to kind of show you how you might enhance this. So we're building a workflow that's going to listen to Gmail. It's going to do some extraction and filtering on the email, any new email that comes in. It's going to generate a response with OpenAI. It's going to prepare the response data. It's going to introduce a human-in-the-loop step, which makes sure that we have some sort of approval on that response email. And then if we get approval, it's just going to send it back to the person who sent it, right? So this could be, on its surface, this is, a lead. If you had leads for your business, you wanted to respond right away, or if you had, if you wanted to really grow this out, if you had complaints or a support ticket triage system, you can kind of leverage something like this. So we're going to start up here. So this is where we start. You always start with a trigger. Webhook trigger, chat trigger, multiple different types of triggers. They have some built-in triggers here. So if we actually look at we added another trigger. You can see you can manually trigger it. You can trigger it on an app event. So some of the integrations have triggers. For example, Gmail has a let's listen for a new message trigger. Google Sheets might have a wait for a new row to be added. On form submission, here's on webhook call. So there's many different ways to get this workflow started. We're going to start with listening to a Google event. When you double click into these, you get your configuration screen. At the top, you would look at so typically you would add a credential. So here we'd say create new credential. And n8n is really nice. It knows the node that you were trying to create a credential for, so it automatically takes you to the form that would be needed to connect an open authorization setup with Google. If you don't know how to do that, that is something that you would you'd click Open Docs for, and it would take you directly to the n8n documentation. So it is a really nice tool to use. It kind of helps you along the way. We're not going to set this up today because this is a pain in the butt. I've already set this up. So we're going to close this. We're going to use just my Gmail account. I've already gone through and set up kind of OAuth slightly different options. So in this case, we have a poll. You can have it poll every minute, you can have it poll weekly, however you want. We're just going to do every minute because we're actually going to trigger this. It's just going to grab the last email that we sent for testing purposes. And then you can add many other things. We're going to keep it pretty simple for today. But actually what I need to do first is I need to send myself an email. And let's make sure that I don't expose all of my secrets to YouTube. So I've just had Perplexity generate a couple of random emails because I don't feel like being creative right now. And I'll just grab the subject. And I'm going to send this from my personal account to my work account. There we go. And we'll send this off. And so this will send that off, and that will make sure that sitting in my inbox will eventually be, and you can see all the stuff that I spend on work stuff to try and get me more clients. So this will come through here. Give it a second. See that it works properly. Come on. There we go. Okay, so what we'll do here is we'll fetch test event. And we've grabbed that first email that just came through. So actually, let me change this to simplify this. So simplify is just a much simpler, and this is in the case of the Gmail trigger specifically, but simplify gives you a much simpler structure of what to work with. It doesn't really work for our purposes. I just want to demonstrate this really quickly. That gives you a snippet. It's just a much smaller object to work with. We are going to not simplify because we actually want to extract the body out of there, and the subject, the message ID, some date, time, things like that. So you can see it gives it to us in a table view. You can also swap over to JSON structure, everything that came back from the fetch event, and then there's also its schema piece. So that's step one. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to add edit node. And this is, so we don't want all of this data downstream. It's actually going to be a little bit easier to work with if we just kind of map this out. So we're going to take and map it. And we're going to do, so the edit node allows you to do some mapping. And you can do manual mapping. You can also just, you actually define it in a JSON object if you want. We're just going to do manual mapping for now. We're going to add a field called email from. And this is, so now we're going to get into what I think is one of the cooler parts of n8n. You can see here, this left-hand view is always going to show you all of the nodes that have executed previous to the one you're currently working on, and all of the data that is flowed through from those nodes. And so if you want to, this is much easier, in my opinion, than keeping this in your head or remembering what data do I have downstream or upstream. So it's very, very easy to visualize this. And so what we want first is from. So we'll go find from, and we want the from address. And we're going to drag and drop that into here. And all this is, as an expression, is just a JavaScript expression. It's actually going through the JSON to actually find the address. It's actually, it's interpolating it here, so you can actually add other JavaScript in there. You can add an or clause or an and clause or really any JavaScript you want to resolve that particular value. So we've got email from. We're going to do email subject. And that's going to be here. We'll go ahead and add email body. And that's going to be, so what we're going to do for email body is we're actually going to leverage a little bit of just a very small amount of JavaScript. And we're going to switch to expression. So what we're looking for is JSON.text. If that is not there, that's if this is undefined, we'll get JSON.html. That just kind of adds a little bit more resilience to our process in case we don't get text that comes through. You can even see here it's already interpolating some of that out so we can see what's coming from the previous node. Go ahead and email message ID. And that's going to come from here. And now it's taken all that, and you can see the output from this node is now this. This next node is going to receive this normalized data structure that we've set up. So the edit node is just one of the core nodes, is what they're called. And core nodes in n8n are ones that they don't require any third-party services at all. You know, you'll have things like here's an FTP connection. There's a form. You can have an HTTP request, which you would be using a lot to interact with third-party libraries. You have different nodes that allow you to control the flow of the actual program itself. You have other nodes like data transformation nodes. Some of these would be, you have loops, you'll have dating time. There's the code node that I was talking about. But all of these are for doing things that you're commonly going to be doing in code anyways. So edit field is one of those ones that you use pretty regularly. And next, we're going to add, we're going to filter email out first. And what we're going to do here is we're going to filter out, this could be much more robust, but we're going to filter out for some common use cases of times that we're not going to want to have an auto reply generated for someone. So in this case, we want to check the subject. This would be an expression again. So you can see fixed would actually output just that string. Expression is actually saying, hey, this is code. And we're going to check that it does not start with. So you get quite a few different comparisons in here that you can run in the filter. We're just going to check does not start with, say, RE. So something that's a reply. We don't necessarily want to create an auto reply for a reply. Same goes for, this will be, this will also make sense. We also don't want to, this is going to be does not contain. And we're going to put auto reply. We also don't want to auto reply to auto reply. So just some common ways, but you can imagine that there are some really interesting filters that you could build into this. You could add some priority filters if it comes from some specific person that you know always needs to be replied to in a specific way. You could do that here. This is more just a catch-all to say, hey, we don't want to accidentally send off some stuff or really run the rest of our process for things that don't matter. Out of office. So we'll test step, and you'll see it shows you here are the items that were kept and any discarded ones. So if you had a longer array, it shows you the different ones that are going to flow through to the next step. So we have kept items, and now we're going to add the fun part. So we're going to go ahead and here's where we actually get into something AI related. So we're going to go into the OpenAI nodes, and we're just going to message a model, one of the most basic things you can do in here. One thing I'll point out is you can see here, as I pointed out before, you have each step along the way, so data from each step. What's nice about that is you can source data from any node that has already processed some of the what you've built already. So you know I can reach all the way back into the Gmail trigger if I need to grab some specific piece of information there, or I can grab from edit fields. So you always have all of that, which makes it also really easy to build this. You know what you have available. Again, with credentials here, we're in the OpenAI credentials. You can see the form is a little bit different. It knows exactly how we need to build this. For this case, we just need an API key, which I've already put in there. Keep your fingers crossed that I still have some money on that account. So we're just going to message a model. There are many different things you could do, and actually you saw that long list of OpenAI things that you could process. There's validators. They have a whole giant list of things that you can do with these different models. We're just going to do something simple. We're going to message a model. We're going to choose, we're going to go with GPT-4 for this particular one. And then we're going to do a couple of messages. So we're going to start with a system prompt, which for those of you who are not familiar, it's oftentimes good to set the role and set, you know, when it comes to basic prompt engineering, it's really good to prompt the, start prompting the AI with, what am I going to be doing today, right? So if we open this up, this is all red because it's not mapped properly. But this is also similar to what we're seeing before. This is a nice way to go into those expressions and actually build them out individually based on previous data that you've run in. So really, we just need the email from. And this will come from here. So this normalized data structure that we set up. Drop that there. We need the subject. And the reason that this is different is average prompt engineer today. I'd be happy to do another talk on that. Still something I'm learning how to do well. But you're a helpful customer service assistant. Your task is to read the customer's email and generate a professional, helpful response. So really priming the model with, here's what you're going to be doing. And then we're going to add a second message, and this one's going to be a user message. And so for the user message, this one's just going to be, okay, analyze this email. Grab that here. This will be an expression. And we'll also grab these groups. So this is going to be email subject again.
And it doesn't matter which process you grab it from, whether it's the filter and the edit.
Correct. Yep. It does not matter. Yeah, I'm grabbing from the edit fields because that's where I normalized it, but you could grab it from the previous node. And actually, that's a good point to bring up. There is a chain of the nodes and how they all connect to each other over time. So sometimes it can be beneficial to grab from the previous node. But if you learn kind of the ins and outs of n8n, you can really grab it from anywhere. But yeah, that's a good point. So we'll just test this step really quick, and this should be, let's make sure, yeah. So this will go up to OpenAI. There we go. So it generated this email from us. We'll parse this out in a second. But now we've made our way over to this point. So our next step beyond this is going to be, we're going to prepare response data. So we're going to parse some pieces of this out again. We're going to use the edit node again, which is just one of my most used nodes. And we're going to say AI response. And we're going to bring the content over. So here's the content that came out from AI. Add another field called response subject. And this will be, this is actually going to be RE. So this is replying to the original response subject, which grab from here. And that one there. We need the time stamp. And this we will do an expression. And this will be now. And this is just one of the, n8n has a number of different global variables, or essentially this is a function that gets resolved into whatever today's current date is. So we will grab this, and now we just map those across. And we've got a couple more nodes to add. So now so this is where we're going to add the human in the loop part. So there are, I think on the newer versions of n8n, there is actually a human in the loop node. I don't have it in here, even though I updated this. I'm not really sure where it came from. But this is using the wait node that comes with n8n. It's one of the core nodes. You can see we can do after some time interval. We can do at any specified time, so we can just pause it and say 2 days from now, pick it up again. Or you can wait on a webhook call or a form submitted. We're going to wait on a webhook call. And what this enables, and I'm glad that you asked that question before, because what this enables midway through is for some external service to say, I approve that email, and then continue the workflow. So once it gets to this point, it's just going to stop until it gets a post from that webhook call. And so this could be some sort of external application that you build. You can have this at a certain point actually funnel off the email could be a Slack channel, it could be Discord, it could be an application that receives it, it could be a database. Someone can go in and approve it, click approve, and then send it here. You can even have approve with edits. Hey, I don't like that, let me put that back in here. We don't have this set up to do that, but let's say someone provided edits, you could run that back up to OpenAI, have it retool the email, and then wait for approval again. So this is a pretty basic way to allow for human in the loop, which I think is a really